Hey all, so Hi-Rez dropped another alpha weekend for playtest notes for Smite 2. It just dropped earlier today. Um, so I thought I would take a look at it from the perspective of a game designer. Once again, I had a lot of fun making the last one. I think I'll have a lot of fun making this one. Um, and Hopefully I'll be playtesting the alpha for a little bit over this weekend, and hopefully I'll be able to record some gameplay for that and talk about the feel of the game, because it's a little hard to talk definitively about how things are going to feel or about the gameplay without actually being able to play. But for this video, I can certainly talk about decision-making processes, maybe deeper meaning behind changes, intention, as well as in-depth look at what a systems design process might be, because I really only have a bunch of what is right now arbitrary numbers. So starting off, you can leave feedback. Do it if you want. Try to be intellectual about it. Don't just be like, this god's broken. Why is he broken? What makes it feel unfair? Is it broken, or is it a skill issue? Not to sound like, an asshole, but sometimes you might just need to learn the enemy god, right? Susanoo is coming into this game. He can be very oppressive if you don't understand how his kit works. Same with Ares, If you're just running at him, he's a guardian, you'll see later, he's gonna build protections, he's gonna do a lot of damage. So be aware of that. Now, gameplay. Relics and aspects. These are your relics or your actives from Smite 1, and your shards that you build at the start of the game and sell at level 12 in Smite 1. At the start of a conquest match, players will get to choose a relic or an aspect. This is interesting because they are adding arena. I wonder if I know that there's some typos in here. I wonder if they are missing arena here, or if they intend to not have this selection in arena. Either way, auto build is going to be there. You have to choose your relic and aspect. Aspects and relics can be changed by doing the undo button, but the second you leave the base, you are stuck with it. There is no changing. The goal is to present this wording is a little ambiguous. Present players with equally weighted options instead of a default active effect. So there is no predetermined bias. I don't understand what they mean by predetermined bias. Do they mean like properly present them with the option of beads, blink, or sunder, so that players don't just unintentionally leave with beads? That could be one way of looking at it. They could look to make these equally strong, and we'll get into how I think the systems design and balance of that plays into it. Provide a limited number of powerful active effects so that they feel like they can compete with beads and blink. So they don't want to flush out these relics with just padded, unproven items. They want it to compete with beads and blink. They want something that someone is going to want to trade off one of these two very strong options for. And they don't want to do it with relics from Smite 1 because they don't feel like they're strong enough, which I definitively agree. If you look at competitive play or any high-level play in Smite 1, your relic options are beads, Aegis, blink, and TP. Which gets into a little bit of an issue now because we only get one. In Smite 1, you were able to get beads and blink, though blink was a lot less strong, and I believe beads had a longer cooldown. I could be wrong. If it didn't, this should have a longer cooldown. Beads is frustrating. Let's talk about the effects really quick. From a gameplay perspective, in the last alpha weekend. Purification beads, in my mind, did not feel too good. It felt fine to use. As a player, it didn't feel good to fight against because they put this like overlay above their health bar. It makes it feel like they're immune to damage, not just immune to CC. And is unclear exactly when it ends. I think they should look at the effect, the shown effect of purification beads. Though I understand the want to not change it. Test it out for longer than something. Let players, get akin to things. Blink Rune decreasing the range. I think this is huge. We're going to talk really, really briefly. I'm going to try and stay on topic. Smite is very obviously a different competitive MOBA than other popular competitive MOBAs for one very specific reason, and it is the third-person camera perspective. The third-person camera perspective makes for a completely different gameplay experience from League and Dota because I cannot run from an enemy ability and see what the enemy is doing. I cannot turn around when fighting someone and not be clueless as to what they are doing. You have sound effects, yes, but you can't tell where they're aiming, you can't tell where it's going. In League, you have a full view of the entire fight. You can see what's happening to your teammates, what's happening to you, what's happening to the enemies. You can see everything that is going on. I think this is the cause for a lot of low-level play disdain for Smite. Especially when 9.5 was coming about and a lot of people were complaining about time to kill being too fast in the game. I think it was happening because players were getting frustrated that they were having things happen to them without knowing that things were happening to them. And that is a result of poor positioning, poor gameplay mechanics, poor, other things. That doesn't necessarily happen in League. Like, yeah, you get shit on in League, but it doesn't necessarily happen in the same way that it does in Smite, because in League there's auto-aim. In League you don't miss, you can't miss your autos. In League there are skill shots, but I can see what the enemy is doing from across the map if they're on a ward, and in Smite I can only see their silhouette. So, with that said, I think decreasing the range on Blink Rune in Smite 2 is great because it makes for trackability of enemies. If I am on Order and the Chaos Jungler is blinking away from me or to me, it is much easier for me to adjust my aim, to predict where in the range of 0 to 56, or 0 to 5.6 meters is than 0 to 7.2 meters. This is a pretty substantial decrease. I felt like Blink Rune in Smite 2 was insanely long. It was fun. It'll be an interesting change. I think it's for the best. We'll have to see how it feels. This is kind of what I mean. There was probably a lot of testing that went into the range of this, but just seeing arbitrary numbers like this, I can't tell you if it's going to be good or bad. I think it's going to be good. I just don't know how good. Now the new Sundering arc. This is your jungle camp killer. We can look at numbers here and say this is going to be good in jungle. There is no level 1 god that can deal 525 damage to a jungle monster. There is no one that has an ability that is going to do 525 damage at level 1 to a jungle monster or boss. There is no one that is going to do, there might be people that are going to do 1,500 damage at level 20 to a jungle monster or boss. instantly. I don't know how it's going to target. If it targets oddly, it could feel bad. I like that it doesn't do much to enemy gods. I like the cooldown. I think this is going to be interesting because you have to pick these before you start the game, and you cannot change it. If I am playing Thanatos in the jungle, and I choose Blink Rune, and the enemy jungler chooses Sundering Arc, I will never out-clear them. I will never out-secure them. Invading is a huge meta in Smite 2. They can and should walk up to any enemy jungle camp, pray that the jungler's there, kill the camp and kill him. Because you're gonna get the buff. They cannot out-secure you. Period. It will never happen if they have this and you have this. Which is going to make for an interesting dichotomy. I think it is a cool change and can be unfun, because as a jungler, I want Blink Rune. I want to blink on people. It is fun. It is fun to engage with Blink, especially if you're someone like Thanatos who has no other option than to just run at people. There's no way for me to gank people if I'm Thanatos if I don't have Blink, except for ulting them. But at later levels, I don't necessarily want to ult into a fight. I'm just going to get insta-killed. So, do I take this or do I take that? It'll make for an interesting thing. I think it could be cool. It might not feel fun. I'm definitely going to get frustrated, feeling like I need to get this. And I wonder if the addition of more relics leads into an eventual decision to give players 2 and tone them down. Don't know. We'll see. Maybe give them 2, share a cooldown. If you use Sundering Arc, then both Blink and Sunder go on cooldown for 110 seconds, but if you use Blink and not Sundering Arc, then you don't have Sundering Arc for 300 seconds, and the enemy jungler can call to do Fire Giant, and they have Sundering Arc to secure over you. I think that'll be an interesting thing. Aspects are the other big thing. The goal is to make them combat focused. They're designed with a balance of targeted use and flexible use. Some aspects have clear synergies for other roles and playstyles, but others could be on various gods or roles, blah blah blah. These are intended to be strong effects that scale well into the late game. That's a lie. I think that's just a blatant lie. There are 4 aggressive options and 1 defensive option. Initially limit the defensive options to being only functionally for the support or support style roles to avoid passive or non-competitive early game strategies. This is a good decision. Passive strategies are bored. Aspects do not take up an item slot. They'll have a HUD icon. You don't activate them. They just happen. The reason why I say these do not scale well into the late game is Barbarian. 50 damage plus 4 per level, bonus true damage, is a total of 130 true damage. Every auto attack, every 10 seconds. One auto attack every 10 seconds. In 20 seconds, I will have done 260 more damage. What fight is lasting longer than 20 seconds at level 20? This does not scale well into the late game. Just period. My basic attacks deal bonus physical damage to all enemies. This is a percentage. My physical damage is going up throughout the game. This scales into the late game. This should be 0.2% of my highest stat. So 50 plus 0.2% per level of my intelligence, and I have 800 intelligence, right? So maybe higher than 0.2%, right? Let's say 0.5. So it's 50 plus 10% at level 20 of my intelligence, which is at... No, that even doesn't work. You make this a percentage of my highest stat. So if I'm building strength, my autos deal more strength. Or my autos deal more damage based off of my strength. If I'm building defense, my autos deal more based off of my physical defense. You know, that is an interesting take. You just have to check to see what their highest stat is, and then you give them that, right? It'll probably be best on intelligence users because they can build more intelligence. But I don't know. Spiritualist, this is Golden Blow. You auto attack one minion, other minions take 12.5% of that damage. It's interesting. This says physical damage. What if my god does magic damage? What does this mean then? Archmage, your next ability has 20% bonus damage. Like, see this? What? My next ability has 20% bonus damage and a 20-second cooldown? This is doing... if I deal 5... Does this work on tick? If I hit an Anubis ult, does every tick do 20% bonus damage? That's an interesting question. Why are all of these percentages except for this one? Make it make sense, Hi-Rez. Movement system updates is only for controller. I don't play on a controller. I can't say anything. Aiming updates, mouse, controller, sensitivities are 100% matched to Smite 1 values. Why wasn't it before? Controller only? Don't know. If you're a controller player, check this stuff out. Maybe it's good. I haven't played on controller since I moved to PC. Match history is cool. Code redemption. What codes? Item purchase notifications. Cool. VGS keys are now rebindable. Interesting. Arena. Arena seems cool. There's stealth modes. Jungle buffs are updated to match the new buffs from Conquest. Their infamy levels are automatically set to 3 and will not change. I get an instant level 3 buff. I want that in Conquest. Battle Cry instead of Ward is cool. This just seems cool. In general, gain 1 charge whenever a player or when you are defeated. I think this is probably the coolest thing in Arena is this hot streak. You know, if I'm snowballing, I do 20% more damage, but also take it. And then someone can get gold. This just makes Arena fun. You know, it's a brawl fest in Arena. Crowd gifts every 90 seconds. Throw the gifts into the middle of the arena. I wish this had like an effect, like like an actual... I don't want to use the word interaction because I don't want them to make me actually interact with it, but like if I'm fighting near the crowd, you know, if I'm fighting near the walls of the arena, let them, you know, do something. Maybe they throw stuff at us and we take damage. They throw roses for the winner and heals them. They throw, you know, they activate traps on the edge of the arena. That would be cool. Picking up the gift grants stuff. Yeah, see, like it grants health regen, strength and int, plus 10 for every 3 minutes that have passed in the match. So yeah, the reward increases. 10 ticket phase. When a team is 10 tickets away from winning, 2 things will happen. The crowd starts cheering for the finale. From this point on, in addition to the gifts being thrown in the center, the crowds will throw gifts at this team. Oh. Happens at random every 15 to 20 seconds, so they're just... Oh, this is cool. So, like, the team gets buffed, but the enemy team's minions get buffed. That's cool. I experienced this bug. Hopefully it's fixed. nerfing yellow buff is probably big. I don't really care about jungle practice. Ooh, new DPS tractor. That's cool. I had other issues with stacking yellow buff. Movement speed might be a little overtuned in Smite, but we'll get into that a little bit later. New God Susanoo. If you played Smite 1, it's not a new god. They changed his passive. I think they should change it back to the movement speed one. I don't really like this. This makes him seem like he's supposed to be a support. This doesn't help him kill people. Ever. Right? Am I done? Like, they'll take 10% increased damage after I hit 5 to 6 basic attacks after an ability. What fight am I in that's going to last that long? Just like buff me up if I do this. Don't nerf the enemy, because then, like, what if I hit a different enemy? This passive is completely useless if he can't stick to someone, and by the time he's hit 5 to 6 basic attacks after his abilities, they're dead. I don't like this passive. I can't tell you what any of these numbers mean. They are going to be watch points for this beta. They are going to be how players perceive him. I don't know how I feel about this ability having like a 1 second cooldown. Oh, never mind. I lied. I forgot how to read for a second. It's Susanoo for the rest of it, except his ult now deals damage over time. He builds strength. These numbers mean nothing right now. Like, unless I pull up a side by side and I'm like, well, this is interesting. I'm not gonna be able to tell you anything because it's a different game. It's all gonna be based on feel. Interesting that they made him purely strength based, because I could have seen some interesting things with intelligence. The top DPS support returns and will likely continue to hold that role or accolade in Smite 2. I hope he does. Instead of aura botting, he just builds protections and cooldown. I think that's cool. You build protections for strength, you build cooldown for int. It's listed down here somewhere. His ult chains being broken when they gain CC immunity, I think that's fine. I didn't even know I could do this in Smite 1. I've played a lot of Ares. I think I knew before and just forgot. Where does this quotation start? Sorry. Okay, Ares basic attacks. They do physical damage in front of you. If multiple enemies are in the area, to the enemy closest to the center will be hit. Has a 4 chain. Damage scaling is based off of strength. Oh. All of his basic attacks are cone? That's cool. Wait. This is still a bug. Okay. Second ability is reworked to Call to Arms. This is a buff for allies. It provides a unique combination of protections and basic attack damage. Ares could be, like, really cool. Ares provides strength and intelligence in an aura. I provide this to my team? Nah. That's sick. Fire Shackle, it stops. Projectile increases your movement speed. Dude, we're making people fast. The reason why movement speed feels so overtuned in this when you compare it again is because gods that have a lot of movement options are frustrating to fight against because you have to aim. You have to track them. They are fun to play, though. And I call skill issue on anyone that says Old Rat needed to be nerfed. Give him back all of his dashes. You could have nerfed his damage. You could have nerfed a lot of different things about him. You didn't have to remove the most fun character in the game. The movement speed buff stacks for each uniquely shackled god. You have 2 seconds to fire another shackle. The damage is high. It's based off of strength. Slow, cripple, you gain 15% movement speed. Is that per stack? No way. I don't know what the radius of shackle is. Maybe the width. Call to arms. You and an allied god around you gain increased magical and physical protections and basic attack damage. While this is active for each buffed god, I wonder if this increased protections affects my passive. The buff is extended for 4 seconds after hitting an enemy god 3 times, which is insane. When does it go on cooldown? Does it go on cooldown after the buff is over? Can I get 4 seconds more of the buff before I have to cast it again? Or, you know what I mean. Sick. Pointless numbers. Searing Flesh, deal magical damage. Does this, wait. So Ares basics do physical. His shackles do physical. His Searing Flesh does magical. Okay. So I thought that we were trying to differentiate between intelligence being magical and strength being physical. But it seems like you're just making intelligence magical and strength physical. I'm sorry. Well, this does magic damage, but scales with strength. I don't understand it. Wait. Begin channeling and immediately attach a chain to the gods around you. Displace chain gods towards you, then deal magic damage and stun. I do 2 sets of damage with this now? That's crazy. Gain mitigation, stun duration, it has a range. I don't know what final range means. Cool. Both the gods and item balance for this update are focused on buffing many of the underperforming tanky gods and items, nerfing top performing DPS gods and items. That doesn't sound like fun. Increased per level health. I don't know. I like shorter time to kill in this game. I really do. But this doesn't look like fun. One of these consequences is a functional nerf. We like how the adjustments helped encourage aggression and fighting. Had some negative consequences. Functional nerfing tanky builds with less total health available. No, just buff the items. This doesn't make any sense. Just buff the items. Right? Am I dumb? I don't know. Thanatos Shifter nerf. This is fine. Just increase the damage again. We won't know how that affects his level 1 and level 20 till we actually play the game. Or I guess level 1 and like, what, level 8? Because you're going to be leveling Scythe, Scent of Death. This was broken. Movement speed needs bigger diminishing returns, I think. I think it's fun to be very speedy, but it was a little busted. I went from like duo side camp to Fire Giant as Loki in like the blink of an eye. I did not. I had 2 stacks of a speed buff. I hit Invis. My Tekokage was at 3 stacks, and I was booking. I made it there before my Invis was over, and I was confused. I didn't know how I did it. The movement speed was a little busted. They nerfed this. Doomslayer, I don't even know, is this her passive? Okay. It says an increase cooldown from 15 to 19 to 15, which is fine. She loses her escape for 20 seconds, which kind of sucks if she engages, but she'll also have blink, so she can engage with that, or she can disengage with it because it's combat blink, which is great. Decrease the base damage. Sure, I don't think Fenrir was ever an issue in the last patch. I don't know about Soul's healing. Her ult has always done a lot of damage. We're taking down time to kill. I don't always like it. Bugs, though, are big. Get rid of bugs. Maybe nerf movement speed. Just like a tad bit. Maybe cap it somewhere. I don't know. Athena now gains protections for 4 seconds on hitting an enemy god. Preemptive strike. I don't know what this is. Is that taunt? I don't know. Increased damage scaling. Increased damage scaling. Why are we making the tanky god do more damage? Didn't we just say we wanted... Okay, whatever. Increased stun duration. Boo. This is actually fine. Level 20. I just hate being stunned in this game. Because I can't have fun and get beads. So. Shards of Ice. Increased damage. Increased damage. Okay. Increased damage. We did not make them tankier. We did not. Okay. Whatever. Nerfing damage items. Nerfing damage items. I thought Fatalis was broken. I couldn't prove it. But this definitely makes sense. People were way too fast with Fatalis. They were faster than they should have been. Decreased strength. Increased protections. Increased cost. I like this change. Buff to passive from 5% strength reduction. 20% now, faster. Cool. Hopefully. Increased magical protection. Like, we could have just done this and not changed the health. See, this is where I get that you had internal testing for a lot of this stuff, but this is where we have an issue, right? Where we don't know if in this patch gods feel too tanky. We don't know if it's because you decrease the power. We don't know if it's because you increase the defense, or we don't know if it's because you increase the health. We can't tell you. We can't say that these people feel tanky or if we feel underpowered because we don't know what the source of the change is, right? Do I feel underpowered? Well, it's probably because you decrease my strength. No, you feel underpowered because we increase their defense. No, you feel underpowered because we made their health pool larger. You know, it's... Pick one, change it, test it, get feedback, change another thing. Decreased mana, increased health, Breastplate of Valor, health taken. I don't know what Breastplate of Valor does. Silken Malco, see, like, protection buff, strength nerf. You know, how am I gonna give you accurate feedback if I don't know what I'm giving you feedback on? It's just too many things from a systems design perspective, right? There are statistics that you can follow for this, but this is like a testing should follow a scientific method. Why would, if I am prototyping something and I run into a bug and I don't know what is causing the bug, I'm changing one thing and then testing it again. I'm not going to change 5 things and then go, oh, the bug is fixed. Well, what fixed the bug? Was it your first change, your third, or your 5th change? You know, did you need to make them? What did you sacrifice by making the other changes? Right? Did we need to increase their health pool? Or did we only need to increase their defense? Did we need to decrease their power? Did we feel that these were just overpowered and that's why we were doing it? You know, it's questions that need to be answered. And I don't, sure, you had a month, you had a lot of internal testing, and I can trust you, but from a design perspective on the outside looking in, I can't say that these item balances were a good decision, except for the Fatalis thing. It was broken. Like, literally broken. But other than that, I can't tell you that any of those are good, because I don't know which one was making it bad. Anyways, that's my take on this patch from a numbers perspective. I hope how I broke it down makes sense. A lot of these big walls of numbers, they're right now just numbers until we get in and we are playing with them and we know what they can do and we know what their boundaries are and how they feel. I don't know how to say that any of these changes are going to be good or bad. I can just say that I don't like the design philosophy with this. I don't like the design philosophy with these changes. I'm in between on these relic effects, because I want both of these as a jungler. But I think that it's cool that if I build Blink and the enemy jungler builds Sundering Arc, that I get to have better chances in ganks and he gets to have better experience farming. One of those is probably better, but you won't know for certain. I think that early level junglers that build Sundering Arc that happen to play against people that don't have Sundering Arc and have Blink Rune or Puri are going to get shit on. That's my initial thoughts. I think these are cool, except for this one, because this one sucks. It doesn't scale. If I do 1,000 damage with an ability, I'm doing doing 200 more damage if I do 1,000 damage with an ability over 20 seconds. And this, I'm doing 260 over 20 seconds with basic attacks. It's really hard to say. Maybe just make them all stronger. I don't know. Maybe make them all weaker. More consistent. A fight doesn't really last longer than 20 seconds. You kit dump, you get 2 rotations of your abilities and an ult. This is only procced once. So, this also sucks if this gets eaten by a minion. If you're trying to brawl in solo lane. Trying to time this so that you're not wasting it on your minion wave and they're hitting you with it. That'll be fun. This also raises a question. I'm pretty sure 54 damage at level 1 is huge. 54 damage every 10 seconds. Can I just build Barbarians as a jungler? With Sundering Arc? Go run at the enemy? Right? Am I wrong? Am I wrong in that? I think this is cool. Play farther away to get your bonus damage. maybe this is strong. I don't know. From a late game perspective, this doesn't make sense. Right? Yeah, I'm not wrong. I'm smart. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll have some comments about gameplay up, and that'll be in like a week, maybe. Who knows? I had a lot of fun in the last weekend, so hopefully this one is also a lot of fun. Hopefully with less bugs, less DCs. There's always DCs. Bye, guys.